back to my channel. It's your boy Brandon. This is TRILLBILLY TV. And let's get into it in what I would like to call pretty much is going to be the final chapter of the Snow White live action right, man. Critical Drinker, he just dropped his review on it, and basically it's worse than he expected. So we're going to do a quick reaction. And that's it. I'm done. That's it. I'm no longer talking no more about Snow White after this. You know, I know it's it's terrible, basically. This is my second review I'm watching on YouTube. Shout out to Jeremy Johns, too. But let's just get it, man. You know what he does best, so let's go.
There are certain fundamental truths about this world which are so universal that anyone, no matter their race, colour or creed, can pretty much agree on them. 1. Never trust a post-Vindaloo fart. 2. Spreadable butter isn't. 3. Anytime a woman starts a sentence with, "a real man would," you know you're about to hear some weapons-grade retardation. And to that not-so-illustrious list, we can add that the Snow White live-action remake was, without a doubt, one of the worst ideas in the whole history of entertainment. Possibly the most predictable of all failures, a project conceived for all the wrong reasons, starring all the wrong people, pushing all the wrong messages, and telling the entirely wrong story. After all the delays and the controversies and the speculation that have been swirling around it for what feels like decades now, it was actually kinda weird to finally sit down and just watch this thing. Like meeting a celebrity after following their career for years. Not a good kind of celebrity like, more like a Jimmy Savile kind of celebrity. The kind that you're discreetly warned never to get into a lockable room alone with. But here it is, nonetheless, and now that I've finally suffered through nearly 2 hours of Snow White, I can confidently tell you that, yes, this film absolutely lived up to all my worst expectations, and in some cases even exceeded them. A bloated, overstuffed turkey of a production, weighed down by hammy acting, cheap costumes, horrendous CGI, and vomit-inducing cinematography that bungles most of the elements it steals from the original animated movie, abandons its classic ideals of self-sacrifice, heroism, and true love, and injects the lethal dose of the message, which is so redundant and thematically contradictory that it just gets abandoned by the end.
Bro, I will say this, man. Disney, and I'm pretty sure I've said it maybe in my past videos, y'all really gotta learn how to just woke stuff. Like, it's just y'all. Yeah, I mean, there's that good woke, and then there's that like, okay, now y'all just, y'all just going a little bit just too far now. And y'all just really don't know. Yeah, y'all don't know how to woke it, basically. You know.
It's also laughably obvious where they've had to reshoot and rewrite big chunks of this movie in response to all the backlash. Entire subplots, characters, and setups are introduced and then abandoned without explanation, and the ending is so wildly anticlimactic and jarring that it makes World War Z look like a model of cinematic efficiency. Anyway, let's get the plot summary over with so we can put this turd behind us. The basic setup for Snow White is broadly similar to the original film. Snow White herself is born to the benevolent king and queen of a generic medieval fantasy land that tactfully goes unnamed. Although fuck me, they must have pretty good transportation links with the rest of the world because the population here is more ethnically diverse than central London. Anyway,
let's see, that's what I mean by that. Like, diverse, woke, ain't no wrong with that, but I'm like, if a film takes place in a certain, region, area of the world that's not known to have, certain, certain, cultural backgrounds, don't just randomly put them in there. Now, I mean, I don't know, that's just me, but
Snow White's mum dies and her dad remarries Gal Gadot, who manipulates him into going off to war, where he promptly disappears and is never seen again. Oh no, guess she's gonna have to take control of everything. What a bind. Fast forward a few years and the kingdom's become a kind of dystopian nightmare where everyone's poor and hopeless and ruled over by an iron-fisted tyrant. It's a bit like modern day Britain, only with better sanitation and dental care. Anyway, after a confrontation with Snow White over a bandit named Jonathan who tried to steal some food from the castle, the evil queen decides the best thing to do is send her out into the forest where the huntsman can conveniently murder her. It's a bit extreme, but I'll let it slide. Naturally, the huntsman has second thoughts and decides to let her go, and after wandering alone for a while, she runs into 7 dwarves that I can only describe as the kind of thing that Cthulhu probably has nightmares about. I'm not kidding, man. The brief glimpses that you got of these things in the trailers are absolutely nothing compared to the existential horror of actually witnessing them on the big screen. These are nightmares made real. Like if you woke up in the middle of the night and saw Mr. Blobby standing at the...
Just imagine being in a movie theater as a kid, man. It's pitch black. All you see is just the scream, and you just see like these. Well, hell, that too. But bro, you just see like these doors, just like staring right at you. It's just like I don't know. It's just I don't know. It looks off to me, man. First of all, CGI just terrible.
These are nightmares made real. Like if you woke up in the middle of the night and saw Mr. Blobby standing at the foot of your bed, silent, motionless, watching you with those blank, lifeless eyes that bore into your very soul. So after crashing at their house for a while, eating their food and helping herself to all of their resources, Snow White helpfully forces them to clean up their own home while she prances around like she's on some mad acid trip. Which she probably is, to be fair. I would be if I was in this fucking movie. Then for some reason she gets it into her head that her dad must still be alive, and the only way to find him is to seek out the bandits that lurk in the forests.
Right.
So naturally, she runs into Jonathan about 5 minutes after leaving the house so that the rest of the plot can happen, and he protects her from the evil Queen's soldiers by taking an arrow that was meant for her, so she brings him back to the dwarves to get fixed up. Oh yeah, you know those retarded looking Starbucks baristas from those early set pictures that everyone thought were the dwarves? Well, those are the bandits, who are actually out of work actors forced to become thieves because the evil Queen's taxation policies shut down their entire...
You know what's crazy? From the jump, I always had a feeling. I'm like, look, I understand how Disney is, man, but there's no way that these people are replacing, the doors on here. There's just no way, man. I understand, that's a politically correct and stuff, but there's no way like humans are replacing the actual, like grown humans are replacing, the seven doors. And it looks like, we were all right, but yeah, Disney tried to use that as some type of, hey, like marketing thing. I don't know. Regardless, it just backfired on them because yeah, this is one of the main reasons why a lot of people turn away from this movie from the jump, Disney. So yeah, well done.
Industry. Is that a reference to something? Is that a reference to something?
Is that a reference to something?
Y'all buckle up. That's all I'm gonna say. Just say he's our president. Just buckle up now. I mean,
No idea. Anyway, Jonathan decides to lure the Queen's soldiers away to give Snow White time to escape, and then immediately gets captured because he's a bumbling idiot. And the evil Queen decides that she's had enough of this shit, frankly one sympathizes, so she turns herself into an old hag and manipulates Snow White into eating a poisoned apple that makes her go a bit dead.
That's creepy.
But that's okay because Jonathan escapes prison so that the rest of the plot can happen, and gives her the world's least passionate kiss, which brings her back to life so that she can begin her cunning plan to overthrow the Queen and take back her kingdom. Do you want to know what that plan is? Are you ready for the fourth dimensional quantum mega chess that she plays here that would probably give Christopher Nolan a brain hemorrhage? Well, she walks into town and then convinces the soldiers to turn against the evil Queen because she can remember their names.
Really?
I'm not kidding, that's her plan. So the evil Queen gets mad and smashes the magic mirror and then turns into black glass and shatters, and Snow White becomes the new queen, and that's it, they all live happily ever after. Now, there's a lot I want to say about this movie, but first, let us begin with the positives. And as hard as it might be to believe, most of them actually concern Rachel Zegler.
No way!
Now, don't get me wrong, she might be an obnoxious arsehole in the real world, but credit where credit's due here, she actually isn't terrible as Snow White.
I think she
Not true! That's impossible!
Like I said, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's a good actor and stuff, even though her statements, have basically really affected, her this movie and pretty much I guess other movies as well. But I'm pretty sure she was a good singer from the jump and stuff. Like,
I mean, her outfit looks like it cost like $100 off Amazon, her haircut makes Anton Chigurh like a cutting-edge trailblazer, her performance is a bit over the top and theatre kid at times, and her American accent comes and goes depending on whether or not she's in a reshoot, but I do get the impression she's at least trying to do her best with the material, and she can absolutely belt out the musical numbers, which is pretty much what you'd expect from a trained vocalist. The same cannot be said for Gal Gadot, however. It genuinely pains me to say this, but I think we all need to come to the acceptance that girl cannot fucking act. It takes a special kind of charisma, presence.
I ain't gonna lie. Look, man, I held back on the previous videos about Gal Gadot that apparently she's not the best actress, and I don't know. Once again, there's haters, and then there's like, look, when you have back-to-back movies of apparently just being a horrible actress, I don't know. She's still getting work. Hey, to each his own, but I don't know, because even in the trailer, I'm like, there's no aura. Like I'm not seeing it. Like you don't want to be here. Stuff like I am the queen. I am the evil. I'm like, no, like you gotta have some to it. I mean, I could be wrong, but anyway.
And dramatic range to play a good Disney villain, and well, Gal Gadot doesn't have it. Her delivery somehow manages to be wooden and scenery chewing at the same time, and when she has to deliver a big musical number, you can pinpoint the exact moment where they swap out her voice with someone who can actually sing.
Imagine there's no heaven.
Jonathan is yet another entry into the bumbling, forgettable, non-threatening male sidekick list of modern-day Disney heroes. There's brief moments where it seems like he might be displaying the tiniest bit of attitude and heroism, but then it's immediately squashed to reinforce the idea that men are all just a bit useless. Visually, the film's an inconsistent mess. CGI Cthulhu nightmares aside, the colour scheme ranges from bleak, washed-out grey castles and towns that look like Zack Snyder directed it, to a kind of over-the-top golden yellow piss filter for the CGI woodland scenes that's so excessive it actually makes your eyes start to hurt after a while. It's funny as well because there's like one scene that was filmed on location in a real forest, and the contrast between that and the CGI fantasy version is so jarring, I actually thought the action had shifted to a whole different country. Also, you can absolutely tell this movie's been reshot to fuck. The kiss scene where Jonathan brings Snow White back to life was absolutely added in later to try to appease fans of the original. Snow White herself has clearly been toned down in places to make her less obnoxious, and I'd be willing to bet about 90% of the bandits' screen time has been cut. Most of them don't even get a single line of dialogue, which once again had me questioning, why the fuck are they even in this movie? I think the biggest problem though is the ending. The original movie had the dwarves battle in the evil queen to save Snow White, reinforcing the idea of reciprocal kindness and redemption, but here Snow White has to resolve everything by herself, and the result is that none of the other groups or factions have anything to do.
So, like, what was the issue with, like, the Seven Dwarfs helping Snow White, defeat the witch? I mean, I don't know. The switch up when it comes to that, I was just, come on now. Look, I understand, man. Woman empowerment, woman heroism, but come on now. That was far from the original cartoon. What was so quote unquote offensive with that? And I don't get it, man. I don't.
Both the bandits and the dwarves, and even Jonathan, just kind of stand around watching the whole thing play out, and I couldn't help wondering, what is the film even trying to show us here? Snow White as a character seems to be all about equity and shared responsibility, rather than privilege and greedy self-interest, but when it comes to the crunch, she ends up having to do basically everything herself, which negates the very point the movie's been trying to make for the past 2 hours. It's this fundamental inability to understand what it's even trying to say, beyond the crushingly tired princess who saves herself trope that's now become the very cliche it worked so hard to overturn that proves to be the film's real undoing. In short, Snow White is a modern-day mess, a film that's basically been a disaster from start to finish, and now that it's finally out there and I've reviewed it, it's something I'm very much looking forward to tossing on the ash heap of history. Do yourself a big old favour, save yourself some time and money, and go watch the original instead.
Weird.
Man.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
And just like that, there it is. The end. Look, man, we already know what this movie was gonna do, but regardless, I mean, hey, I don't know. It just came out. I don't know how box office opening weekend is gonna be and stuff. I'm pretty sure it's gonna make. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. All right, look, like I said, a lot of people supported Mufasa, a lot of people supported The Little Mermaid and stuff. Both movies, in my opinion, they just like bomb. It's like, but maybe I don't know about Little Mermaid. But, that Mufasa movie was just, but I don't know. So yeah, it is what it is, man. It's nothing to be unexpected, nothing to be shocked about. Until the next live action movie, man, we're gonna see. Lilo and Stitch, it looks promising. I mean, of course, there's already beautiful areas casting as you, but it looks good. But anyway, we're gonna be here for it regardless. Shout out to the Critical Drinker, man. This your boy Burner, TRILLBILLY TV. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks you for all the support, and I'm out.